Times have been confirmed. Let's have a look at them right now. 14 seconds back to Brownlee. The same back to Vincent Louis, your championship leader, who's got work to do. Hayden Wild starts 1 second back on Louis, and that is not a bad place to be because it's a further 10 seconds back to Van Riel and Canute together. Richard Murray all on his own, 14 seconds behind Canute and 9 seconds ahead of Tyler Mislachuk. Tommy Zafiris and Leo Bergeret are your top 10 and the only 10 to make it through into stage 3. Igor Polyansky, João Pereira, Andreas Schilling, Matthew Sharp and Jonas Schomburg all missed out on the 90-second rule. You can see their times come up. Jonas Schomburg must have had an issue there because he finished 3 minutes and 21 seconds back in that one. So we've seen a few drop chains as they change rings and go up into Churchill. Well, I'm surprised we didn't see that too much in the women's race.
Yeah, you shouldn't be changing rings, I actually don't think.
Yeah.
You can definitely get up there easily, still in your big ring, and the difficulty of changing into your small and your big and then back at the top of that hill is definitely not worth it. We haven't seen it, but to be honest, I reckon either there's crashing and your chain's bouncing off, or you're hitting a curb and your chain's bouncing off or something. I'd be surprised if they're changing rings, and if they are, they shouldn't be.
What'll be interesting about this for round... Oh, here they're off.
Oh, here we go. Just as Macca tries to make a point, he gets overruled by Henry Schumann, who takes off 14 seconds ahead of Johnny Brownlee, and Johnny's watching him disappear into the distance. They run onto the bike. It is a bike, swim, run, finish, everything on the line here. Johnny Brownlee off as well. Heads straight onto the bike, and another 14 seconds back to Vincent Louis, who will be keeping one eye, probably both eyes, on Henry Schumann, who is battling an illness, and he's taking antibiotics and crossing his fingers and hoping he can last till the end of this triple mix. Hayden Wild and Vincent Louis went off a second apart. They remain a second apart. Canute and Martin Van Riel take off at 38 seconds together, but halfway up the hill already and attacking is Henry Schumann.
Look, Hayden Wild's been the most aggressive on the hill, so the advantage for Vincent Louis is if we can work very closely with Hayden Wild and try and get across to Johnny, that might be advantageous for him, because Hayden just seems to throw caution into the wind, have a go, and maybe can use that up. That being said, Vincent's on the front, but Hayden's going around him now. You see them in the centre of the screen.
Yeah, those two are going to be very aggressive here and work hard to get themselves back in contact. I think Henry's just going to do what he does best and try and control his effort here and get through the race. He knows he's got that bit of a trump card on the swim, to be honest. If he gets into the swim with clear water behind him, he can extend the lead, no problem. So I think he's going to ride hard here, but not max, and just hope he gets to the swim with a bit of time and extends that lead on the swim, and he can hold on to the run and control it pretty comfortably.
He nearly took out the TV cameraman.
He did indeed, I saw that.
Or the TV cameraman nearly took out him.
Yeah,
that's probably the right way to put it.
Yeah.
Yep. But he's got at least the length of the hill and still a little bit more after that ahead of Jonathan Brownlee, and you can see the gaps that he's created. Vince Louis sticking right now with Hayden Wild. The two of them started together and stay together, and Henry Schumann using every single inch of this course as it widens out into that turn.
It's a tough corner, that one. You can't take it too quickly, and it's not worth risking too much. The carpet is a little bit slippy, especially for the straight line braking, so I don't think anyone is going to take too many risks around it. But that said, if you can get a little bit of an advantage from the guys around you, it's definitely worth a go. The person we haven't talked about in this stage so far is Richard Murray at 52 seconds back, and not only 52 seconds, he's completely isolated. 14 seconds to Ben Canute in front of him, who it would be a big ask for him to catch. Ben Canute rides well, and Mislachuk about 10 seconds behind him. So Richard Murray's got to do this stage for himself. He's going to be isolated on the swim, which as we've seen before isn't great for him. So a big ask for him to get himself back into the race here in any state.
I was about to say that before. Henry disrupted me by starting the event, but what's very, very interesting with Richard Murray in this position is Martin Van Riel, who didn't race with us in Jersey and was out of the Malta event, takes those very critical points for the race win, for the series win off Richard Murray if he doesn't get finish in front of him.
So Wild and Louis have already caught up 7-8 seconds, so they're coming back well. Johnny stays the same, about 14 seconds back. Canute's actually caught up a fair bit of time, coming down from 38 seconds to 31 seconds. So they're doing all they can to get themselves back in touch. I think Henry is probably pretty much one of the fastest around this kind of course if he wants to be. So I think that shows he's probably not going full in and just controlling it a little bit. But I think we might see this just compress a little bit more in the next few laps before they go into the swim here.
I think the big advantage that second group has, if they do come together, is Hayden Wild's inexperience. I think you could rev him up a bit, get him to work that hill for you, get him to take the chances on the descent, and then pounce.
Vince is going to be in his ear behind him.
There's not a lot you can do though. I mean, even on the hill, you know, you're going up a steep hill and you've not got a big draft advantage anyway. So yeah, you want people to work together and you kind of want allies, but the actual difference isn't that big. We saw Martin van Riel actually is working his way really well through the field there. I think he might have just dropped Ben Canute. So yeah, there he is there. So yeah, you see he looks like he's moving through the field and he's riding well as we'd expect here. Yeah, there's Ben Canute just going up to the turnaround there. Martin van Riel's already around it and well on his way to catching Louis and Hayden Wild in front of him, actually.
He's on those aero bars again. As he comes off that far turn, he rides that whole bottom section here on the aero bars, as you said, which is it's a lot safer now when you're on your own.
Absolutely, not too much of a problem actually with it when you're on your own, although I'm not sure it's worth being in that position just for 10-15 seconds. But yeah, in a group, I don't think it's a particularly wise decision at all. We can just see Martin van Riel at the back of the pitch there, giving everything he's got to try and get across onto Hayden Wild's wheel. You know, if he can get that, he's done a great job on this leg. And look at the spectators on this hill. That's a great shot, isn't it? Down the hill to the start-finish line, and it's providing some really good spectating. You know, like we kind of see on the Tour de France, with people out on the road, and that, you know, that's really good to see.
The gaps maintained from last time they came through transition on the bike, just about the same. 14 seconds still between Schoeman and Brownlee. 21 seconds to Vince Louis and Hayden Wild, and Martin van Riel has been the big mover, as you say, into 5th position, and he currently stands 26 seconds back.
Richard Murray, 48, so he's got 4 seconds. You know, he's riding hard, but yeah, he's not making any inroads there really at all, and he's got a swim to dive into next where, you know, we can conservatively predict he's probably going to lose 10 to 15 seconds. So yeah, I think Murray is in trouble here as far as this stage is concerned.
These two have been stuck like glue, Hayden Wild and Vincent Louis, but it's not helping them hugely. They took 6 seconds out on the opening lap, but the gap has steadied as Henry Schoeman just tries to measure his way through this one, knowing that, as you say, he can get into the swim and swim within himself and still swim, if not the fastest time, at least maintain that gap.
Yeah, he will maintain it, if not extend it, and swim within himself. And yeah, he's looking at this at racing across the 3 disciplines and doing a good job of it. You know, if he dives in, you probably need 5 seconds at least because it compresses as you dive in the water. But as long as he's got 5+ seconds lead here, he's going to swim more time into the people around him, I imagine. So that's what he's thinking. But he does still want that 5-10 seconds gap on Vincent Louis, you know, because I think if Vince goes into the run maybe with just 5 seconds behind him, that you know, I think Henry's probably still all right, but Henry probably knows he doesn't want that. So we see these guys are actually working really hard together, taking turns. The only time you do get this advantage probably is on this straight flat bit, to be honest, and they're making the most of it when they can.
When they do that, and that's Vince Louis for you, that if they're working together, it always happens to be Vince Louis behind when they're on the straight, which is the only part you get an advantage. But that's why he is the world number 2, and Hayden Wild is doing the work down the bottom of the hill.
If you're Johnny right now, Ali, are you happy to get? You want to get in that water in front of this group behind? Is he a better swimmer without people around him? Is he?
Yeah, he probably doesn't. He knows that Vincent's going to swim faster than him, but he knows that, you know, there's going to be a bit of scrapping if Van Riel and Hayden Wild are involved. So I think he probably wants to get in the water before Vincent Louis and wait for Vincent to swim past him and then get on his feet, and that's probably his best bet here. Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking. He's had to ride hard, and he's exactly the same gap, him and Henry, the whole way around as Vincent Louis moves past, as you said, for the technical section, which just makes it hard for poor Hayden Wild. But these guys are going to have caught Johnny by the end of this, all going to be very close. So those guys are going to be going into the water, you know, together, if not very close to being together, as long as the others don't mess up. Martin van Riel, he hasn't made those gains on these last 2 laps that he made on the first few laps. Tommy Zafiro's out, so he must have rode really hard on those first few laps, and yeah, he hasn't made the gains in the back 2 laps. That,
you know what, he's happy though, because he just got drafted into the series. His wife Katie obviously is our championship leader in the women's. He is a fantastic swimmer, and it was just a few days ago he got invited to join us by virtue of an incredible swim ITT time, which wasn't official, but it was fantastic. So Great work from Tommy Zafiris to hang in until the second last or third last leg of this triple mix with the pace on as it is. And Henry Schoeman has done the job, picks up the short shoot by virtue of leading all the way through this. And you're right, Vince Louis and Hayden Wild have caught up to Jonathan Brownlee, so it's about having a good transition. And these three can work together on this swim to try and shut down some of the advantage. And you think Vince Louis is going to be the guy who's going to go off the front here and try and push the pace?
I don't think he's going to go off the front because they're going to swim pretty close together. But, yeah, I think...
Johnny, you're going to be looking to get on Vince's feet, though.
Yeah, of course. He's going to push the pace, Vincent, without a doubt. And that's a fantastic shot with Henry again, running the biggest distance he can rather than swimming. Johnny going after him, and you just see, actually, he's not running as fast, making them run still there on the soft sand rather than allowing them to go down on the hard sand. That's
part of the short shoot advantage.
Oh, was
that's
it?
the short shoot advantage, yeah. So that is significant. As you said, that soft sand is a lot slower, but he's not too far back, Johnny. Be happy with that.
In the water first.
Vincent diving in, Hayden needs to get on Vincent's feet and hang in there for dear life here, and that's his tactic for a great race, and then see what he can do on the run.
But Hayden's also probably thinking, I've got Martin Van Riel, who's a lot quicker swimmer than I am, so if I'm slowing up Vincent, he's a much stronger swimmer than I am anyway, so I'm happy to sit on his hip, get us right as long as possible. We're not going to catch Henry Schoeman, but I need to fight for survival.
And Henry Schoeman has been fighting his way through this triple mix. He needs this win, Henry Schoeman, for a lot of reasons. Not only for championship points, but for momentum and to cut off the momentum of the man behind him in pink, Vincent Louis, who, if he can take out maximum points from this round, will pretty much have a hand on the trophy and the $100,000 when we arrive in Singapore in February. Be a long, long wait until then, though, if Henry Schoeman can hit back and narrow that lead as he heads back towards the beach for the last time before they get in the water for the last 100 metres.
Johnny's swimming really well.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's also missing that buoy and swimming the wrong direction there. He looked like he was about to miss that buoy. Hopefully, if we see the shot, we'll see them actually going for this second buoy again. So I don't know what's happened there. So he looked like he went the wrong way.
He's got the inside run, Johnny, going on the inside, but Vincent's moved around.
But they've distanced themselves from Wild there. Vincent has just got to go for this, hasn't he, now?
Yep.
He's got to put everything he's got into chasing Henry down, and I think it is a tall order for him. You can see Henry swimming quick here, really high in the water, that great leg kick, fast turnover, and that gap is, if anything, going out. It's definitely not coming in, is it?
Jeez, I wish I swam like that this morning in our corporate.
So do I, mate. So do I.
You swim more like that kayak that's stood still in the middle there.
That was useless.
Chris McCormack, Hawaii Ironman, dual world champion, getting humbled by 15-year-olds in the age group race in the water this morning. Alistair Brownlee waiting there on the bike, very unhappy, arms crossed.
He was annoyed. He was definitely annoyed.
McCoy's just happy to be there. As Henry Schoeman comes out of the water, he's got to go back in for another 100 metres. And unlike some of the others and some of the women as well who ran a little bit further across, he's just confident in his swim stroke, and he should be as well. He's leading by quite the distance. It was 16 seconds as they went through transition the last time. You think it's a little more than that now.
So Vincent Louis on the front there. I don't know. Johnny's slow on his feet. Hayden Wild, that gap has just opened up a bit, which is not great for him. He needs to stay as close as he possibly can here, because it's unlikely he's going to catch either of these guys on the swim as they go back in, and Martin Van Riel probably holding those guys, and he might just be able to make some inroads up on Hayden Wild, but I think that's going to be tough for him as well. But apart from that gap now, so 5 of them, isn't it, back to 6th place, which I'm not even sure who it is anymore. I think is absolutely Ben Canute
still.
Yeah, he seems to be in 6th place quite a lot, just hanging in there,
fighting.
With Richie Moore in 7th place, Michel Schuck in 8th. So this race is blown apart here, and I think though there's probably the 3 we're looking at for the podium, and 4th and 5th is going to be fought out between Wild there and Martin Van Riel.
Well, for the weekend's racing, what Henry should be hoping for here is that Johnny takes out Vincent Louis in this run. Because,
absolutely.
That's important for Henry. So whilst he's chasing the win of today's, we have tomorrow's sprint enduro to count for the round. So every point matters, and if Johnny can take out Vincent, he could take a sigh of relief. I think you'd hear Franzel from his
probably would have
fiancé.
been. Henry could have actually waited to to try and pull and put people between him and Vincent. That possibly would have been attractive. A bit risky in this kind of racing, to be honest, because it's a bit too unpredictable what's going to happen, and you do not want to give Vincent Louis a sniff of him getting back in contact.
That's right. He doesn't make a mistake this time on the run leg, on the swim leg, as he runs out through the sand. Still looks like he's got something in the tank, and we've got the run to go. Just an update on the championship points and the implications to this. Vincent Louis is on a maximum 50 championship points after 2 round wins in Jersey and Malta, and Henry Schoeman, after a couple of second places, is on 42, so he's 8 back. He needs to win this round and take the maximum 25 points, and that means he needs to win here in the triple mix and do the job again tomorrow in the sprint enduro. Johnny Brownlee is on 28 points, and with a good showing here, and if Richard Murray can fall down the order a bit, which he is now, he could jump Richard Murray into 3rd spot overall as we head into Singapore in the grand final. But right now, you're right, Henry Schoeman is relying on Johnny Brownlee having the run of his life here and making sure that he finishes in 2nd position ahead of Vincent Louis.
But just to confirm, if Vincent wins tomorrow, he wins overall.
He still wins overall,
exactly.
yes.
So Henry,
if he finishes 2nd today and Henry feels 2nd tomorrow,
if they swap, it goes on Sundays.
Yeah.
It goes on Sundays results. But the best thing that, if Johnny can win this one, it gives Henry that little buffer. If Johnny can win this race between Vince and him, it gives him a little buffer, and he'll take the short shoot as he does at the other end of the course. So after Churchill will come down, turn right, he'll get the short shoot. And every indication is that Henry Schoeman will take the maximum points from today. Of course, they're added to the points from tomorrow to determine our overall winner, who'll then take championship points into the race for the $100,000. And this is where the race really is. 2 laps and a big cheer as Vince Louis takes on Johnny Brownlee for 2nd spot, and Henry Schoeman does what he's done all day and just measures his way through this race. And for a guy that's not feeling himself, however he's feeling right now, he should just feel like that at every race, because he has been in control.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much haters out there, but there isn't many races where Henry Schoeman starts and there isn't something wrong. I mean, and that's coming from me. I've spent most 90% of my career injured and saying I'm injured. So, yeah, he's ill in some way or injured or fallen over. And I think,
Richard Murray's
fallen foul of the 130 rule.
Wow.
So he's gone back 90 seconds. So he started 52 seconds back, and the leaders have put 40 seconds into him in 2 legs.
But even now, just on the swim, he started that swim, I think, less than a minute behind, so he's lost 30 seconds on that swim alone.
We've missed the chock as well.
The question is, how much has he got left in the tank for tomorrow?
And Bergier gone as well.
Yeah, they lost a lot of time, all those guys,
in that last swim.
It looks like right now there is 6 men left in this race, with Ben Canute being up the rear ahead of behind Martin Van Riel, and Hayden Wild's in and around there somewhere as well.
What do you do if you're Johnny Brownlee here, Ali? He's got the biggest finisher in the sport with him.
He has to make a big move anytime now, doesn't he? Literally with every metre that Vincent gets closer to the finish line, even if he's hurting, which we saw with Henry, and he is making that move, it looks. Every metre he gets closer to the finish line, he gets more confident. And so you need to put some hurt on him as early as you can, and I think that's what Johnny tried to do. He's actually just used the downhill there to get his legs turning over, get moving, and try to get the little bit of a jump on Vince there. But we just saw on the camera, but we kind of missed it. But I think Johnny made the move, and Vincent responded fast. It shows us that Vincent is in a pretty decent position still. You got to keep trying. You know, they've got this hill here.
You can't bet against him from this position, though, can you?
No, Vincent's moved back.
Done it sometimes.
He's done it to control the pace here. Johnny still
looks good.
Yeah, that meant I've done that before with Johnny in training to try and slow him down. So that means Vincent has tried to slow him down there, and Johnny's pushed back round to try and get back round him, and he'll try and attack here on the hill. But Vincent, well, let's see if he can respond again, because this is a tough hill, and he hasn't got it in his legs. He went there and realised about 5 seconds later there was nothing left.
Just to update you on that swim, Henry Schoeman put 15 seconds into these 2 guys on that swim alone.
Wow. Yeah.
And that just shows you, he went in 17 seconds a gap, he came out 31 seconds the gap, so 14 seconds it was, and that's a big boost to Henry Schoeman's momentum.
Hayden Wild holding on well here, though, isn't he? You know, he hasn't lost that much time to these 2 guys on the run, and he's done a really good job. Johnny's got one last chance.
Still there, though. He's still there.
He's got one chance out this corner. One big chance out this corner.
Inside run on him.
And Vincent's going to cross the line a winner, and he's going to be hoping that Johnny can do it. A little bit of pain on the face of Vince Louis, but he is the consummate professional. This is where the race is for round standings and championship points, and a little smile and the hands in the air for Henry Schoeman. And why not? He has had the race of his life here, has led from the front, and despite feeling a little bit under the weather, Henry Schoeman has dominated this triple mix, and that will be a huge boost to his confidence to put one into Vincent Louis. And Louis and Brownlee are still at it as they come to the last dead turn. Who's going to have the acceleration in their legs? It doesn't matter to Henry Schoeman, who's going to be your triple mix champion here in Mallorca. And he's got time for high fives and smiles, and why not? What a fantastic effort, and he's claiming it too. Look at that. A little bit of showmanship from Henry Schoeman. We don't see it often, and that can just show you exactly how much it means to the South African. And Louis is chasing Brownlee behind, and he's going to get him too, which is bad news for Schoeman, but good news for Vincent Louis and French fans, who just had a little bit too much for Jonathan Brownlee. And Hayden Wilde is in back of shot, all alone in fourth position, which is another fantastic effort from him in Super League Triathlon. He is a big name for the future, Hayden Wilde. But Henry Schoeman is your champion. If Wilde is the name of the future, Schoeman is the name of the present. And there is his brand new fiancée, Franzel, congratulating him. They're nursing him through the last few days of illness to a victory here on the streets of Mallorca. And Hayden Wilde again announces himself on the scene.
Yeah, I think obviously Henry winning there, great performance. Really good from Vincent Louis, you know. It's easy to forget he lost 20 seconds there from that mechanical, you know, with that 20-second deficit. Yeah, he did well to get himself back in touch. Martin van Riel,
great race.
Yeah, great racing as well. And there's this Ben Knut in the back of the shot just coming, just fighting his way to the line again. Really good to see.
He is such a fighter. He's like the American Christian Blumenfeld, this guy.
He is a real fighter across all distances in triathlon. I think we constantly say that, but this gentleman on screen is racing everything from the long distance racing all the way to Super League racing and right up the pointy end.
What an athlete he is as well. And there is Henry Schoeman, who is just recovering as we look at the moment. He claimed it, the triple mix coming across the line, and he's such a reserved character. As I said, it just means a lot to him after what happened in Malta and what's happened in the week in between. So fantastic work from your Commonwealth Games gold medalist, WTS event winner as well.
Olympic bronze.
An Olympic bronze medalist in Rio, that's right. And here is the result. 6 men making it through. Ben Knut coming in on the bubble, 129. Martin van Riel in 5th position on debut in Super League. Hayden Wilde, again, punching above his weight. I say that, but we've got to increase his weight because he keeps doing it. Jonathan Brownlee in 3rd, the first step on the podium. Vince Louis takes the silver, if you like, second step, but they all fell behind Henry Schoeman in a 19:07. And